This is Comics Covered for the week of December 13th, 2017. I was going to say Friday. Episode 5. We know some people are listening now because we see the little downloads. So there's someone here.
Very, very little. Very small downloads, not large.
Okay. There's someone here, so we love you, person. We express our unconditional, undying love for you. But we just want to say we're Comics Covered. We talk about comic books, world around them, any media surrounding them in the industry, movies, TV, games. We'll also have some spoilers, and we swear, damn it, that we will warn you about them. I'm Jack. I'm a fairy new to comics.
You're a fairy?
I'm a fairy new to comics.
You're a fairy who has not read comic books before.
No. Are there any fairies? Like, are fairies anywhere in comics, by the way? That's a thing that I've been wondering.
I'm 100% sure that is a thing. I don't know that I actually can think of any specifically, but that I'm sure is a thing. I know I can think off the top of my head of some like interdimensional beings that are referred to as fairies.
Okay, that's kind of what I mean, though. Like, okay, cool.
Or an imps. I know of an imp.
What is an... Okay, sure. Whatever. Well, let's not get into an imp discussion. Imps, whatever.
We don't need to get down this rabbit hole of what is or isn't an imp.
Or imp hole.
Oh, boy.
Okay, in any case, you have something that I'm going to guess, apparently, right?
We do. I'm Doug.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't introduce myself, but that's who I am. And I'm the closest thing to a comics veteran we've got. And I do happen to know what the cosmic treadmill is.
I know what the cosmic treadmill is.
Oh, you know what the cosmic treadmill is? See,
yes.
This is why you don't think of them right before the show.
Yeah.
This is why.
Cosmic treadmill here. It's the thing. I actually just saw the cosmic treadmill because I've been rewatching the first Injustice being played through, and they use it on screen.
They use the cosmic treadmill in the first Injustice?
They used it on screen for Flash to get from one of the dimensions to the Injustice dimension. Where
I do not remember them. That's weird.
Now, I was wondering, is it literally a treadmill? Because they show it as literally a treadmill that he's running on.
It's a treadmill.
Okay, so it's a treadmill. So
it's a treadmill.
I can ask about, he's just able to, like, run, like, it goes at his speed, so he just generates a lot of the Flash energy, the Flash force.
I think he's propelling it. Like, I don't think it's powered.
Okay, so
it's like he's powering the machine by running on it, is the idea.
And then it's a device, a bunch of energy.
It's a device that allows him to travel through
time, isn't it?
Time and dimensions, and it's like a kind of multi-purpose transport device of whatever type. Dang, that's 2 weeks in a row that you knew these things.
Well, I thought Dexter was a dog, so yeah. You need more obscure, yeah. But that's also a good thing. See, I need to give you the books that I just got for Hanukkah. My girlfriend just got me 2 books, The Legion of Regrettable Superheroes and Villains. So I have a bunch of very obscure villains and heroes. Which includes Buona Beast, our first guessing. So yeah.
Which I take umbrage with. Also, I could see Buona Beast, but I do take umbrage with you sent me a picture of MODOK in this book.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Maybe it's just because he looks weird.
MODOK is wonderful, and he is my wonderful baby boy, and I love him, and you will not talk badly about my child.
Huh. Okay. Well, there's also a villain called the Hand in it. It's just a disembodied hand. Maybe it's the hand of that guy, the bartender guy from Doctor Strange, the disembodied head.
Oh, maybe it is, or maybe it's it's cousin It from. Or wait, which one was the Hand in Addams Family?
I don't think I've ever watched Addams Family.
No, cousin It was the hairy thing. I don't know which one. I don't know which one the Hand was.
Okay. Well, the hand
walked around.
Okay. Maybe it's in Daredevil. That's the Hand.
Oh, yeah, but it's a literal hand.
Yes. Okay. In any case, how was your week, Doug? What do we got other than the obvious?
I mean, if we want to just kind of talk for a sec before we get into the obvious, I mean, I guess I don't know. I had a very, very busy week. Not a whole lot other than this one big thing. Mm-hmm. I guess I've been playing a little bit of games. I've been playing. Came out a while back, but I've been playing Thumper. It's like it's a rhythm game.
Oh, that's the one you sent me, right? That I looked at.
Yeah. But they describe it as a rhythm violence game.
I don't get the violence part.
It's like a weird combat thing with boss battles, but it's a rhythm game, and also it's like you have to play it to kind of understand, because it's not like music. Yeah. It's like
it's drum beats.
It's very intense.
No, I saw a video of it. It looks really cool.
It's almost like don't take this the wrong way, but it's almost like Stomp in that it's like it's not necessarily like musical cues, but it's more like you're generating weird sounds due to your actions on this track.
Yes.
And that's kind of making the quote unquote music.
Interesting.
Okay. It's really cool. But cool. Yeah, how about you?
I don't have anything but the big thing, really. I just kind of went through life. So big thing is we both saw Star Wars, which we were very excited about.
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, which kind of what are we gonna talk any? No, we shouldn't talk spoilers.
We don't need to talk spoilers, but maybe we could talk impressions.
Impressions. Yeah, let's go impressions. So it's really good. It's really good and really well done. I think I agree with you. I like Force Awakens better, just because this feels very condensed. It feels very condensed. And that one and I think we were talking about this yesterday, like Star Wars usually has this very grandeur feel of like, this is crazy, but this story that they go with is really good. Don't get me wrong, but it's very like, this is what we're doing, then we have to do this, so we have to do this, so but this happens, so now we have to do. It's very direct in where it's going to and what it's doing. So it's not bad because of that. I just feel it feels a lot like more setup to me. You know, when we should hash it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that I see the condensed nature that you see. Mm-hmm. It seems like it kind of is a little bit meandering to me, actually. Yeah. Like, it doesn't really seem like it has a whole lot of focus. Like, it can't, specifically, like, tonally. I really like the grand scale kind of things they're doing with the characters and where they're going with them. I have a lot of problems with the tone of this movie, and I was telling you, I think what this movie made me realize is I love the characters, I love the plots of these movies, but more than anything, I come to these movies because Star Wars has a very specific tone and feeling to it, and this movie didn't feel like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Which would be fine if it had brought its own kind of special new, like if it felt like Rian Johnson had a very specific new kind of tone and feeling to bring to it. But other than it being kind of weirdly goofy, I don't know that he brought something to it to replace that very swashbuckling, fun action adventure feel that all the other movies have had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't need to talk like a whole bunch about it, but I think we're both on the same page that like liked it, but we didn't love all of it.
I think it would be better watched as a direct follow-up to Force Awakens. Like if you watch this and then that right afterwards, I think it'd be better. What I mean by condensed is like, we know everything that needs to get done at the beginning and nothing else really comes up. You know, we know everything we're going to have to be dealing with at the very beginning.
Yeah. It doesn't, they don't really veer from that, I guess.
That's kind of what I mean.
Almost to a fault, in that, like, when things don't work out for them, they don't go off, they don't, like, adapt and go off on kind of a new adventure. It just kind of keeps going along with that failure. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to like spoil.
Yeah, we danced around this, I think, well enough to where we don't have much spoilers in there. We don't have any, really, so.
But little bit of a mixed bag, but enjoyable if you like Star Wars.
It is enjoyable. It's a good movie. I think it's like a 7, 8. It's not a 7. It's an 8 out of 10, I think. movie. No, you're going lower.
I'd have to see it again to maybe give a definite number, but I might give it a 7.
Oh wow,
maybe.
It beats all the prequels. Still,
it's not an 8. It is better than them. There were also moments that really reminded me of them.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I understand I understand. I'm excited to see it again because I need to see it again with my girlfriend.
I think it would really benefit from a second or multiple viewings, because a lot of it was just because it was not what we were expecting.
Maybe you were looking for something and it just wasn't there and you were distracted by looking for that.
And that was distracting, I think. And maybe it would be better viewed with kind of knowing more what it is, or kind of not having those expectations going into it.
Really quick last thing. What did you generally think about Laura Dern, her role?
She was good. I mean, I really liked... She was mostly there...
I know I
can't say specifics, but I think she was good. She was mostly there to kind of comment on and give a growth to another character, and I thought that was, I guess, well done at the end. She has a very good moment at the end for herself.
Yeah.
But
I love that moment, by the way, that you're talking about. That was
that
awesome.
moment is great. That moment's one of the best in the movie. But
one of my favorite, honestly, in the series. That's one of the coolest.
It's a really clever use of a thing that you really kind of take for granted in the universe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think we've exhausted how much we can talk about this without saying.
Just so everybody knows.
We're talking about, the thing? Remember that thing that happened?
Just so everybody knows, Doug and I have gotten really good at talking about movies where the other one hasn't seen. In fact, Doug gave me a text before I saw this that said, a specific event happens with a specific character that I feel you'll have a specific reaction to. I love that.
When the guy does the thing, I really had feelings about it.
Okay, in any case, let's talk about, just so everybody knows, also, we are going to be reworking this a little bit, so we're going to actually do news first. So it's the new... No, never mind, that doesn't work. But news is going to happen now. Duh.
Yeah, we're tinkering with the format a little bit. We might go back to doing comics first at some point. We'll see. But we're gonna do news stories.
So the big one was Disney bought Fox. That just happened.
Yeah, this is definitely the big thing. I think technically they haven't actually acquired them
yet.
There's
an 18-month grace period, and the feds are investigating, I think.
Yeah. They announced their intention to do this along with Fox. They're going to be, like we talked about on previous episodes, they're going to be, but the details were kind of finalized here. Mm-hmm. They're going to be acquiring 20th Century Fox Studios, which is their film wing of their business, as well as parts of their television, specifically a few of their cable networks, FX, National Geographic. They're also getting their regional sports.
So how long do you think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia survives under the Disney umbrella?
See, that's the thing is, I don't think... It sounds to me, and this might be me projecting, but there was some phrasing in there that made it sound to me like they're not killing the Fox brand.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like the remaining parts of Fox are going to spin off and in a way that made it sound like they're maybe going to rebrand as something else.
I saw the word New Fox thrown around in one of these articles, which sounds like a comic book thing, honestly. This is New Fox.
New Fox. He was bitten by a radioactive fox baby.
No! With racist tendencies.
Oh, boy. But I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this, like FX and other like Fox stuff is just kind of their own brand under which they continue to just kind of put out the same kind of stuff that would have come out on those channels originally.
Yeah.
Like It's Always Sunny, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. If anything, as Disney continues to assimilate all of media and culture, they're probably going to continue to expand their kind of range of types of materials they're going to put out. So I don't think we should be worried about like them toning down the content on all these channels.
That's honestly bad for business. Like they have to see that. That's terrible for business, especially with the creative business. Yeah. Like you have to do stuff like that.
I mean, if they are specifically buying a network like FX, I don't think they have plans to be like fundamentally changing what FX is or like why buy it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can see that. Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah. For the cinematic universe, though, what is this? This means X-Men, which I know you're worried about, and Fantastic Four, which you're less worried about?
Fantastic Four would work perfectly in what the MCU has set up right now. X-Men, I kind of, in general, just in like the comics as well, have kind of a little bit of mixed feelings on, because I think it, in some ways, fundamentally breaks a lot of the fiction of the world. Mm-hmm. Having these mutants out there that are hated and everything, even though they have superpowers like literally every other loved superhero in the universe. Yeah. It doesn't really make sense. That said, I do like seeing those characters interact. And Disney, specifically after announcing this purchase, went out and specifically addressed that. And said that they have intentions, they have plans to reunite the X-Men and the Fantastic Four with their Marvel franchise.
Wow.
So
maybe it'll be like they could do like a universe where the X-Men are behaving, and then if they have another multiversal, like event, they could interact like that. I don't know. Like I feel like there are ways to do it, and also I don't know if there's a story involving like first mutants being seen and discovered and everything. Like, would that be? I don't know.
I think the way that they would handle it in this is that like mutants can't really have already existed in this world in the way that they've set it up. Yeah. So I think the only way they could do it is to be like, oh, they're starting to appear, or they're starting to appear in a more visible fashion. Maybe some of them have been around. But
maybe they're treated as like an Illuminati sort of secret society. Like they're easy to keep secrets from everybody else. Like they're good at it, and they, I don't know.
I just more have problems with the idea of this hated group of superpowered beings coexisting with like, but Captain America and Thor and Iron Man, they're all fine. Yeah, cool. They do the exact same things, but no, these mutants are dangerous.
What if,
which I love if I'm just looking at the X-Men, I love all the stuff they do. But when they're combined in that way with these other also superpowered characters, it kind of like it doesn't really make sense how public perception of these two groups can kind of coexist.
Okay. But now tell me, could they possibly do something where like, isn't there like a mutant virus or something that jumps from mutant to human at some point, and that's some of the spur of the hate too? What if they focused on that and they like weren't hated at first, but once they start getting people sick and like a wide populace dies or something, maybe they could make them hated through that way?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they'll actually handle it. I'm just expressing the concern because that is how they have been in the comics for a very long time, and it just doesn't really make sense. And again, I love those characters, and I like reading about them. I just hope that they kind of are aware of that if they're going to integrate them into their movies, and make some sort of effort to make it make sense. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, also was this a TV thing or movie thing? This Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse thing.
So it's an animated movie, which is a really fascinating thing. Sony is releasing an animated Spider-Man movie called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is about, for anyone who doesn't know, there has been, in the last about 15-ish years, there's been a different version of Spider-Man in some of the comics, named Miles Morales.
Black kid, right?
Who is half black and half Latino.
Oh.
And he was Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man book for a long time, and then was just this last kind of couple of years integrated into the regular Marvel comics alongside Peter Parker, which is kind of confusing, but
are their suits different, I hope?
Yeah, he has a black and red costume. And then Peter Parker's wearing the normal Spider-Man outfit. Anyways, so they're making a movie about Miles Morales Spider-Man, an animated movie. A kind of confusing decision to do that at the same time as they're producing their live-action stuff with the Marvel movies. With Peter Parker.
Maybe they want this as a bridge so they can make their own universes and stuff.
I don't know. The interesting thing about it is that Spider-Verse, the story that they're doing in this, is basically about Spider-Men from all these different universes meeting. Like, there's a shot of him meeting Peter Parker Spider-Man in this.
Yeah.
But the reason I put this on here is because I had very little attention or reason to really care about this movie before this trailer came out, but this trailer has some visual style that I am really into.
It's so cool. So stop motion-y.
Yeah.
Weirdly, and too. It's weird. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, the colors in it are really cool and vibrant and kind of glitchy in a weird way. And then they do these moments where it turns into comic book art for a split second during big moments. And then, and all the movement kind of feels like it's almost it looks like CGI. It doesn't look like they're trying to make it look like they're clay or something, but they move in this very stop motion, low frame rate kind of style that looks really, really visually distinct. And I'm kind of excited.
The camera work in general as well. I remember there was a specific shot of him flipping and going onto a building that looked just really, really vast and just made you feel, I don't know. I'm really excited. When is this supposed to come out? Did you see at all?
Let me pull this up. I feel like they put a date on it. It says Christmas 2018, so it's a year from now. That's a ways off. That's early to be announcing an animated.
Do they say where this is going to be? Is this a theater thing or is this a?
I saw a trailer for it in theaters before Star Wars.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang.
It was in, it was before Star Wars when I saw it on Friday. So I assume that means it's coming out in theaters.
That's pretty
cool.
Is that's
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Usually these animated Marvel or DC movies don't come out in theaters, but this one's they're trying to make an actual thing, which is kind of cool.
Okay. I'll take it.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's this other? You put this on here. Kill or Be Killed. Is that a comic?
Yep, that's a comic by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips at Image. And
Brubaker.
What now?
How do I know Brubaker? Who's Brubaker? Why do I know him?
Ed Brubaker. He writes a lot of crime comics. Almost always with Sean Phillips. I feel like I've recommended stuff of his to you before. It's probably just where you're getting that name from.
Okay. Maybe.
But Kill or Be Killed is a series that is currently ongoing.
Oh.
They're in the middle of that. And it's about a kid who, a guy in his 20s who has a kind of near-death experience. He attempts suicide. And when he comes back, when he doesn't die, a demon, or maybe it's a hallucination, comes to him and says, I was robbed of a death because you survived. And now, in order for you not to die, because he has now decided he doesn't want to die, for you not to die, you have to kill one human being every month. So then the series is slowly like about him like kind of believing it and then not believing it and then believing it, and kind of where his mind is at, and kind of the slow transition into him, like, what is he going to do about that? Is he going to do it? And it's really good. And it's presented in this very not fantastical way at all. It's this very down-to-earth, grounded, like it's just about people. And it's super, super good. I really recommend it.
Wow. I love that. That's a really cool... I would love to read that. Do you think I can find that probably at my local comic book store?
They've probably got a trade out for the first arc or so. I don't exactly remember what issue they're on right now.
So wait, is this like the last couple years new?
Yes. It's been coming out for like a year-ish now. Let's see. Kill or Be Killed. It says it started in... Wait. It says 2017. No, it says started 2016. Okay, so it started last year. They just came out with issue 14. So they've got probably 2 trades out by now.
Yeah. 6 each. Is that how you do that math?
Usually it depends. Most comics, the trades now are about 6 issues.
Okay. Wow. I like that. What's the quickest you've seen a story arc come to screen since its start? Isn't that kind of crazy that that's so quick?
I mean, sometimes comics are optioned as movies before the first issue even comes out. Like, I think Kingsman was like that. It was a comic called The Secret Service, and I'm pretty sure it was optioned just because it's a Mark Millar thing, and like tons of his stuff gets turned into movies, and someone read the first issue early who was at a studio and was like, that needs to be a movie. And I think it was in development like while the series was coming out, but
wow.
Anyway,
that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, but it's going to be directed, this Kill or Be Killed movie is going to be directed by Chad Stahelski, who is one of the co-directors of John Wick 1, and then he directed John Wick 2 because the two of them split up. This guy, Chad Stahelski, did John Wick 2, and the other director, whose name I can't recall, did Atomic Blonde. So they kind of split up, but... This guy. So
Chad got the better end of the deal, probably.
I heard Atomic Blonde was pretty good. I heard it
wasn't supposed to be bad, but John Wick 2 is supposed to be like really, really
John
great, right?
John Wick 2 is so good. The first John Wick is probably a better movie, but the reasons I like the first John Wick, they just make even more outlandish and absurd and blown out of proportion in the second one, and I love it.
Purposely, I assume.
So I can't decide if his style of those movies is a perfect fit for this, or if it'll be a really interesting kind of different spin on it, because he has a very particular style, at least so far. We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. I should watch John Wick and John Wick 2. I'll do that soon.
Wait, have you not seen either of them?
No.
Oh, you need to see John Wick. See both those movies.
I will. I'll do it.
So good.
Okay, so then we have these Netflix things from Marvel. I saw the Jessica Jones trailer, which I'm really excited for, except I just don't know. I want to read some of her comics because I don't know what like she is like. You know what I mean? I loved the first season, but I just feel like I don't know anything about her still, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the comics are basically the same thing, originally from a series called Alias, by, we'll talk about him in a minute, Brian Michael Bendis. And he pretty much is the kind of main creative inspiration for pretty much all of the Netflix stuff currently.
Yeah.
He made the modern version of Luke Cage a big thing. He created Jessica Jones. He wrote Daredevil for a really long time and kind of gave him the kind of feel that the show has. So
he's supposed to Ben Affleck.
They maybe learned some things not to do from the Ben Affleck version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. What did you see anything in this trailer that like is specifically like cool they're doing this or no?
I can't recall anything specifically. I put the wrong link on this Jessica Jones thing. I put the Punisher link on it. Anyways, I mean, I don't recall specifically what's in the trailer. It just seems like it's a lot of just like, I don't know, shots of her being tough. But I do know from some pre-release stuff that Kilgrave, David Tennant's going to be in it again. Don't know how. Oh. I'm guessing he's not actually there, is my guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Joker in Arkham Knight kind of situation. Maybe? Where he's just kind of in her head, taunting her.
It's hard not to cash in on David Tennant being awesome.
I mean, how can you not want David Tennant, more of David Tennant, and David Tennant doing that character specifically because he's so good at that show. I would love to see David Tennant like in that primetime era, like kind of a prequel to Jessica Jones, you know? I guess they give a lot of that in first season, but okay. But then we also have really Punisher season 2 already got announced. Yeah, like right away. I mean, like I guess the show's been out for a few weeks, but I guess it must have done well enough that they want to make more of it. I'm really curious how that stuff is going to go. Did you finish it? I did not. I did not finish it. I do want to finish it at some point. I got distracted by other stuff. I have not had time to watch any more of it. But I mean, it's good enough that I would probably watch more of it once I get through this season. I would guess. But okay. Yeah. Did you watch any more of it after the first episode? I've only watched the first episode. Oh. I know. Well, no, I haven't finished it either, so I mean, I can't really criticize. No, I know. There's just so much going on, you know, and I mean, I guess not. I guess I could easily probably watch it. I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it soon. I will do it. We should make a time limit. No, we don't have to. Or the bomb in your neck goes off. Oh, geez. That's Suicide Squad, right? That is Suicide Squad. Okay. Yeah, that was that movie. Ugh. I mean, if you want to legitimize that, I was referencing the comics. Okay. I'll take it. Is that actually how it works in the comics too? The exact same way? I don't recall exactly when. I know that now they have like the bomb in their head thing. I don't know if that was always the case. I can't remember, but I know that that's definitely a thing, at least in modern Suicide Squad stuff. Huh. Okay. And so you wanted to talk about Brian Michael Bendis almost died. Yeah, he we didn't go into a ton of detail about it, but it was a thing he was very open about on Twitter this last week. He was hospitalized for health reasons, and it sounds like he was discharged and then had to go back, and it sounded like it was pretty serious. What he had, it was really, really serious. MRSA is he is so lucky that he didn't die. MRSA is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is a staph infection that is resistant to one of the strongest antibiotics that we have. Oh, geez. You have to give him something that's even stronger, which stronger antibiotics means that they kill so much bacteria in your system, and you need some of that bacteria in your system. And if you don't have it, you need to be on major health watch to make sure that you don't pass, because it's just nuts. So it's insane, because there's MRSA, there's Versa, which is I think worse, vancomycin resistant. But yeah, it's bad. So he was pretty close, and didn't get him though. Death's grip. He slipped. Yeah, we talked. He was in the news recently because he's been a Marvel writer for about 20 years now, and kind of in a lot of ways, even besides that Netflix stuff that we just talked about, was kind of the architect of the modern kind of direction of Marvel comics. And so in a very surprising move this last couple months, I think it was 2 months ago, or maybe a month ago, moved to, or announced that he will be moving to DC Comics. And so he's like working on his last big stories at Marvel before he leaves. And it sounds like some of that stuff might be delayed because he's been having these horrible health issues, which obviously is very understandable. And, you know, we wish him the best, and just focus on getting better rather than, you know, getting the work out there. But
yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And then Comic-Con in Utah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
So San Diego Comic-Con apparently took issue with another local comic convention in Utah, calling themselves a Comic-Con.
Because don't they also have Salt Lake City Comic-Con too, though?
I think a lot of that stuff is owned or run by, in some form, by the organization that runs San Diego.
Yeah. This is a different one.
Yeah, this is just a local, just like a local comic convention. Small organization, called themselves a Comic-Con somehow in their name, and they apparently took issue with that and sued them and won. So, which feels kind of crazy to me, and to a lot of people, because that's just kind of, it feels like that's not their brand. It's just a shortening of comic convention, and it's what everyone calls every comic convention.
Huh.
So it's like
branding milk trademark.
Yeah, it's like, you can't call this milk. We're milk.
Yeah.
We're milk. You can't. This is white drink.
White.
You have to sell this white sludge drink now.
Booby juice.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that was juvenile.
God, I know we said no spoilers, but
I know exactly what you're talking about. We don't have to talk about which one.
I'm just going to leave that tantalizing tease there for anyone who hasn't seen The Last Jedi. Somehow what we just talked about is relevant in a startling way.
Really startling, and really great too.
Very uncomfortable.
Oh God, I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay, in any case, but yeah, okay, that's a little weird, because I know, like, last year I heard about Salt Lake City Comic-Con being a thing, and then I saw this, and I did not know that it was such a general term like that. I mean,
a lot of them, like Comic-Con International runs it's a whole chain. But everyone calls them Comic-Con. Like, I go to C2E2 a lot, and because I lived in Chicago for a number of years, and we just called it Comic-Con. Like we would call it C2E2 if we were like specifically referencing, like, are we going to go to C2E2? But then, like, outside of like making plans for it, we would just talk about, like, we went to Comic-Con in Chicago. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just kind of like the common phrase that everyone uses. And
weird. Now you put a trademark by it.
Yeah. Okay. TM
Comic-Con.
in fact, for saying it as many times as we have, we now in fact do own Comic-Con in San Diego.
We owned it. Like,
we did say it enough times that it is now patented and legally the property of Comics Covered now. So if you could please, San Diego, please cease and desist with your use of our word, our term. Mm-hmm. I mean, enough is enough. You've been calling it this for so long, and it's ours.
Long. It's ours.
So yeah, it's ours now. Dibs.
Okay,
we call dibs.
With that, I think that's about it. We had a pretty light news week, but now we're gonna get into the weekly stack. But before we do that, Doug, there is a little nugget that we left in way back in episode 3 of Comics Covered that I said we were gonna come back on, which is you doing your impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh
no! You can't just like ambush me with these things.
Perfect segue.
Here,
I'll do mine first. I'll do my horrible one first. Are you ready? I sound like a Frenchman. Get to the chopper!
See, it's very uncomfortable that you keep like setting it up like I have some amazing Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, and I don't. So, everyone, please prepare yourself for a very mediocre Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
It's good. Better than mine.
Get to the chopper!
See, that's good. You sound like you got the stuff behind it. I thought you were our previous governor in California. I sound
like a bad off-brand Arnold Schwarzenegger impressionist who played him on a cartoon. Like if there was a character on like Tiny Toons named like Andrew Schweitzenhofen, who was an action movie star, and he would speak like that.
Like I think that's fine. Did. So you're basically the new Warner Brothers DC animated film voiceover version of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wait, what?
Because all those new DC animated ones have the like most. I don't know. I hate the voiceovers now because they sound just like so boring and like they don't care at all.
Because all the new DC animated movies are like with the creative changeover they had a few years back, they decided that the new strategy for voice acting is let's not hire voice actors. Let's hire actors from like television. And so because we want actual creative talent, which is bullshit. And also all of those actors very clearly are completely uninterested in all of it and don't know how to do voice acting and sound just bored and toneless the whole time. And it's horrible.
So you can be better than them, Doug? You can join that.
I mean, it's low bar.
Low bar?
I'm Batman. That's my Batman. Hire me.
You can do Batman. I'm Batman. Hello.
I'm Batman. Where's the Trigger Man?
That's good. See? Okay. But in any case, our stack this week, we both had Mr. Miracle number 5 and Ragman number 3. And what'd you have?
I also read, we won't talk specifics about, I think, any of my books, but just a shout out, I also did read Detective Comics number 970, The Flash number 36, and The Damned number 6.
Detective Comics is where Batman was introduced, right?
Detective Comics is the series in which Batman was originally created, yes.
How did they introduce a new character like that? Oh, here's a character that's dressed like a bat. Here you go. Do they go over his history before that, or are they just isn't that weird?
I don't recall if his origin was given in that original issue, but Detective Comics and Action Comics and a lot of series like that. It was just like the name sounds. They were like anthologies. So basically, Detective Comics was a series in which pulpy detective characters would solve crimes, and Bob Kane and Bill Finger came on to do a story on that series about their new character Batman, a man who dresses like a bat and solves crimes, which is actually pretty similar kind of in feel to a lot of the types of pulp heroes that at the time who were kind of starting to move in a more kind of superhero-y direction but hadn't quite made that huge leap. Like the Spider and the Shadow and other characters like that who are very themey pulp heroes who dress up in a costume and fight crime but weren't quite in that kind of DC superhero mold yet.
And action comics is where Superman came through, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll take it. And then I read my first solo book this week, which was fun.
As in you picked out a book for yourself for the first time.
Because it was just starting. She-Hulk, number 159 and 160, was just starting this arc, so I figured I would get on that train, because I know absolutely nothing about She-Hulk.
Was this just a new arc, or was this a new creative team?
I think it's a new arc.
So same creative team as it was?
Maybe.
Okay, so it's a new kind of launching point for...
I don't know.
But you didn't. It didn't feel like you were jumping into the middle of a series.
No, it did not. It was very like, this is the start of something new.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about Mr. Miracle.
Okay. Oh yeah. I would love to. Mr. Miracle is great, and I love it, and it's amazing.
Very briefly, for anyone who's not reading Mr. Miracle,
spoilers? By the way.
Spoiler warning for these books. Yep, the patented spoiler warning noise. Comic-Con International, please cease and desist using our patented spoiler noise.
They use it every single conference. It's crazy.
Every time.
But yeah, this is a whole story. Like it's all about just them being a couple. It's great. Going around.
I mean, just really briefly, I mean more like setup.
Oh, go ahead.
Who is this here? I'll just Mr. Miracle is a book about basically a superhero who is an escape artist named Mr. Miracle, and his wife, a character named Big Barda, and they live on Earth, but they have ties to the place that they came from, which is kind of this alien race called the New Gods, who are these basically alien gods who live in this constant state of war with a planet opposite them called Apocalypse, traditionally run by a big DC villain named Darkseid. And all that is a lot to take in, but basically this is a book about this escape artist who doesn't really want to be a part of that crazy god world, and they keep dragging him back in. The last issue, he was accused of basically going against his not really half brother, more kind of adopted brother, Orion, who is their leader now, and Orion, who is their leader, sentenced him to death. Mm-hmm. So this issue was Mr. Miracle's kind of last day on Earth before his execution.
Yes.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
By the way, did you get this? I wasn't sure if I got a variant cover, but this cover is a lot different, like of a feel. Is it?
Which cover did you get?
It's like them sitting on the beach in front of Coney Island.
That's still Nick Darrington, I'm pretty sure. He's been doing all the covers. I think this is Nick Darrington. Yep, it's got his signature in the corner. It's still the same cover artist. It has been. It is a little bit. It is a different feeling, I'd say, but it's the same. I'd say it's the same style of art.
Okay. Sure.
Nick Darrington is the artist on Doom Patrol currently.
Oh.
That's been doing the covers for all of these. They've been really good covers.
Yeah. But, so we're on his last day, and it starts with the question, or, Mr. Miracle just saying, all you have to say, Big Barda, is stay, and I will, not go through with this execution, and I will fight Orion and go to war. And she's like, oh, I can't do that, whatever. And then we have their last day, which is hilarious at times and very depressing at others.
Yeah. It's kind of them trying to just kind of have one last normal day where they go around and they do a bunch of stuff that seems like it's kind of meaningful to them in terms of the history of their relationship. They go, they go to the grave of an old friend of theirs. They go to a carnival where apparently they had some sort of early date between the two of them. They go to watch the sunset on a beach. Like it's just this very somber, sad, them trying to pretend that everything's normal when they know he's about to die. And at the end, even though Barda, his wife, wasn't very insistent that I can't be there to make your decisions for you all the time. You've been this is a thing that's happening to you. She comes in, and at the end they come to get him for his execution, and she murders them.
Everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and then the last line is stay. I love that.
Yeah, directly mirroring the beginning where he asks her to just say stay and we can run away together, and she says like, I can't do that, like I can't be that for you all the time, like, and at the end she just says, I can't deal with this, like stay, like we're going to fight this.
What do you think? Is there a moment in here that you can see her making a different decision? I wonder if they put this in here at all, you know? Like, I know she's crying at this end part. Maybe they don't have it anywhere, really.
No, I don't think they have a change, because I think the idea is that this was never a thing she was going to allow to happen. But she wanted him to stand up for himself. Yeah. And at the end, he didn't. So he was just going to go with them. And so she's like, fine, I guess I have to do this. Yeah. Like, she never seems like she has a moment where, like, her mind shifts. Because she looks like she's kind of almost, like,
begrudgingly
frustrated with, like, yeah, like, she's like, I guess this has to be me again. Like, always. Yeah. God. But
God. It's just so... Because the whole issue is just this... Oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're doing this. And in the middle, when they're stuck in traffic, that's my talking point. Because this moment, I think we're also reading Doctor Strange, which last issue had one of the most hilarious scenes. This is up there, I think, with most hilarious scenes.
This is one of the funnier scenes I've seen in a comic in a long time.
They're talking about how everybody has a song, and, you know, everybody has something that they, you know, were listening to when they first met or something. And Barda then says, oh, well, we met in the pits, so the noise around us was the moans of the damned. So
they came from Apocalypse, which was kind of, it's basically hell.
Yeah.
So
the Mother Box, can you play the moans of the damned? Which damned? 10 years back. No, gods help me. They took my leg. I'll give you anything. My eyes are bleeding. Like, oh, God.
So, yeah, the Mother Box literally starts playing a recording of the moans of the damned. And then the two of them in the car are listening to this for like multiple panels. And then they just start laughing, listening to all these people like being tortured and killed. And they just move on. It's so from great. The scene.
The memories. Oh, God. I loved that. That was one of my favorite things.
And it's so funny because it, like, the moment feels like this very, like, surreal version of a thing that a couple would really do as, like, a joke. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it mirrors the kinds of things like, oh, we don't have a song, but there was this weird sound thing when we were first dating, and then you ask your phone to play the weird sound or whatever. Yeah. And then, like, it's funny, so you both laugh. Yeah. Like, right. As if that's your song, but it's so fucked up because it's all these people being tortured.
They took my leg.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, they barred in general in this, though.
God, yeah. I just really am a big fan of how they portray her and their relationship, with her being kind of the voice of kind of like, she is his strength because he doesn't really have much of a will of his own. Mm-hmm. And the ways in which they kind of show how that's frustrating to her, but also like she actually does like they do love each other, so she'll do it, you know? Yeah. And I find the complexities of their relationship always really convincingly rendered, and I really like how they portray that.
I'm sorry. I just realized something. In their car, did you realize what side of the car he's driving on?
Yeah, he's driving some European car. Everyone else is on the correct side of their car, but it looks like he has some sort of import because he's driving. His steering wheel is on the right side.
That's an interesting and
it looks like a classic European import of some kind.
Yeah. Okay, it's weird. I just realized that. Sorry, but yeah, that's strange. But in any case, this is just still great art, great story. I love that they can just do an issue where the whole thing is them going through a day, last day in the life, and then it's just still amazing, and it's gripping, and it's just
Yeah.
Oh, also, still on the there's a pattern here, because he was wearing a Flash t-shirt, or no, he's wearing a Green Lantern t-shirt in the last issue, and now he's wearing a Flash t-shirt in this issue. It's just, I feel like that's just part of the these things are here, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a t-shirt. To me, I'm a god.
It's the mashup that Tom King does in this and does in a lot of his work of superheroics and the mundane. It's just very much like, he's sentenced to die, but I'm gonna wear my Flash t-shirt today, even though he kind of seems to hate being a superhero,
That's so interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool. But then we have a little bit less of an exciting issue.
Yeah.
Still spoilers, by the way, everyone. Etrigan, can you just tell me if he ever shows up in a good story, Doug?
So we're talking about Ragman number 3 right now.
Yeah.
And yes, Etrigan does appear in good stories. He largely, other than he did just get his own series recently, he largely appears in cameo kind of appearances like this.
Is he like, oh shit, it's a big deal thing?
Not really.
Okay.
Because he's largely in cameos like that, and he shows up in a lot of books. He's a lot of times a kind of a gateway character into the more supernatural side of the DC universe. Okay. And I really like Etrigan, but the use of him, yes, varies wildly.
Because we didn't talk about it in the thing, but we just read Demon Hell's Earth, that's his.
Yeah, we were going to talk about it on the show. We were planning on it. We picked up the first issue and then read it, and we're like, this isn't worth covering.
Yeah.
If that gives an indication of that book. But,
yeah. And then he shows up here at the end. And it's just like, well, I don't want to talk about what coming into comics kind of anew and everything. Like, this isn't necessarily really bad. It's not necessarily not gripping or anything. It's just, there are just things that happen, and it's not clear with the art.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So this is a series that's about a kind of a man who's come home from being kind of a special ops soldier of some sort. I don't remember if they specify exactly what branch or division he's under, but he's come back after this horrible op that he was on, where all of his squad died, and he's basically become bonded in an accident with this suit of haunted fabric that contains the souls of his squad. And he's in this issue kind of started to kind of take on what seems to be kind of his mission as a superhero character, I guess, to hunt down demons and hellish kind of incursions on Earth. And yeah, the first couple issues were pretty up and down in terms of writing quality.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I can continue to be absolutely baffled by the art in this series anymore.
Yeah, especially at the end. The end is this huge action sequence. Okay, really quick rundown. They start telling the story of another person that was in a different squad in his really big accident thing that also gets taken over by some weird dark demon thing. And then he comes and they have this whole fight, and they're trying to bring something that they don't really talk about into the world that's evil and shit like that. And yeah, but this whole action sequence at the end where our Ragman is fighting this other guy that was, that doesn't like him is so unclear. One time someone is on top, the other time someone else is on top, and then someone's choking this person, and that other person's burning him. It's just I can see why art is so important now, because I just had no fucking idea what was going on.
I mean, this is one of the foundational things that we talked about a few weeks ago, is one of the number one rules of good comic book art is you have to be able to understand the sequence of events.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I can look at these panels and I can go, okay, he's strangling him in this panel, and then he punches him in this next panel. But I can't for the life of me. It takes me a minute to be able to like adjust my brain and decipher exactly what the sequence of events is there. Like, because there's so much happening in all these panels. There's so many lines. The way in which he draws Ragman with all of these spindly rags coming off of him in all directions makes every panel so busy with content that I can't understand what's happening on a moment-to-moment basis like 60% of the time. Yeah. Which is bad.
But you know what? You know what? The worst thing is that I feel like it could work. It really could work. But it's just this entire series so far has been like, I feel like it's just been action sequence after action sequence after action sequence, and it's just like,
it's not entirely the art, like, but it's the slow realization that, like, I don't think we're getting any kind of real reinvention of this character. It's just all been set up for he's going to fight demons now, and they're not really doing anything interesting with it.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I might continue reading it for the sole reason that this is a 6-issue miniseries, and I've read 3 of these. And at this point, I've read half of it, so I'm kind of curious to just see how it wraps up.
But it seems like they're just introducing his main thing, which is looking at the city, you know, and like seeing that it's all screwed up and stuff, right?
Like seeing all these demons.
Yeah, it's like that's the first time we're getting his main conflict, and it's the halfway through. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, 3 issues isn't an insubstantial amount. Like, you can do a lot with 3 more issues, but I don't know that like what they've presented here is compelling enough to make me excited to read more of it. And if it's just like every issue feels like a slog because I'm having to interpret everything so heavily in terms of what the actual events. I'm looking at this panel. I don't know what page this is. Let's see. This is.
I feel like I know which
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a couple ads. Anyway, it's this page where he's fighting a demon at this circle of candles, this like pentagram thing.
Yeah.
And there's so many ribbons flying everywhere, and not even within the panels. They're flying over other panels. And like,
is this before Etrigan shows up?
Yes, this exactly is like just before the half page, like a few pages before the half page mark. But I don't know what's happening on half of this page. What's happening in this page on the upper right here, where it's the slow angle, where he's walking over the demon, and there's all these ribbons coming out of him everywhere. Like, what is this panel communicating? That he's like, what is the? And then he's got him wrapped up in like the next panel. What?
I don't know. I have zero idea. I don't like the other page where it's like they have him in 2 places, but seemingly not separated by panels. Like, we have a shot of him at. Do you see the theater battle on the next face? I don't know if you're in the same place. Maybe not.
Theater battle.
The beginning of this theater battle thingy, they introduce their location at the very top right, and then they just show him right in the middle of a battle with another guy. And then in the lower half of it, there's a shot of him. There's like a little not a mini panel, but you can't see the panel because both the bodies of the people in the lower panel go into the bodies of the long shot that they have in the upper panel. And it's like, are they in 2 places at once? I just don't like it at all. I'll let you read the last 3 issues of this. I'll pass.
I'm not 100% sold that that's a thing I'm going to do, but the art is like, there's something to be said for like art having like a kind of frenetic energy and sense of motion, but there's so much going on in this, and we don't need to. I don't want to talk too much about stuff we don't like.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked and I don't want to like shit talk people, right. But like this,
it's just missing the mark.
I've found this series kind of frustrating because I've liked, I don't know much about this artist, but I've liked Ray Fox's, work, at times in the past. And, I was kind of excited to read another series of his. He seems to like doing this kind of dark supernatural end of the DC universe. And I don't know that I can keep doing it. We'll see.
But then I get to talk about my first solo book. I wanted to get this because Ragman was a little bit disappointing. So I wanted to get a different one to both venture out into my own man. It's my bar mitzvah, basically. And then I just
She-Hulk present at your bar mitzvah, like every good bar mitzvah.
Exactly. And I also Doug and I were talking about the leader because we were talking about how that was a whole setup for at the end of Incredible Hulk, and they didn't really get to follow through on that. But so I don't know anything about him too, and I'm excited to read more because just like as a basic setup, we're still going to do spoilers about this because I want to. I don't know, Doug. Do you want to like a rundown of what's happening, like a really simplified version, or do you want
to like a really basic kind of synopsis of what this book is and what's happening? Like I don't need the whole deal. But
this book, very basically, Jen Walters has ever since fighting Thanos in something. She apparently was they had a battle with Thanos with her, and ever since then, she has been a little more untethered with She-Hulk. She's always been able to control She-Hulk, but now it's a lot more like Bruce Banner's and theoretically more powerful. So we're talking about we're starting off with this interview she's having with a reporter, seemingly, and the reporter's super into her, but the reporter's like really dumb. Like she's so dumb and asking really dumb questions and everything, and she's like complaining about it in her head, like, are you like an idiot? And it's kind of fun to hear because, you know, she's a lawyer. She's like accomplished lawyer. She's trying to do her business or whatever. And this bitch is just talking nonsense. In any case, near the middle, like we are seeing, by the way, who's Hellcat? Do you know who Hellcat is? That's someone that's in this.
You watched Jessica Jones, right? The show?
Yeah.
Patsy Walker, her friend in that. That in the comics is a character named Hellcat, who is a cat-themed.
Okay, I need to watch Jessica Jones again, I think, because I don't even remember Patsy Walker all that much.
It was her like news radio, talk radio friend who had the show.
Ooh, I think I remember.
Blonde lady.
I think I remember. They didn't have much with her though, right? They just kind of had her.
She was a fairly large part of the show.
I think I need to watch it again. Or at least get a
that show's great.
Rundown. No, I loved it. I know my girlfriend I know Samantha wants to watch it, so whatever. Yeah. But in any case, at some point we learned that there was an incident in public where there are a bunch of people. She was defending some. This is Marvel, right? Yeah, she was defending some mutant in court, and everybody's rioting because they hate mutants, and they don't like her either because she can be dangerous, and people are like throwing stuff at her, and I guess she gets triggered. And then later it's revealed that that this woman that she's been talking to that she thought was a reporter was the one that triggered her because she's actually a really...
You're talking about... You mean she turned into the She-Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You just didn't make that clear.
Okay. Sorry. She turns into She-Hulk, and we find out that it's because this girl that she's been talking to in this interview bumped into her in public and stabbed her with adrenaline. So they got her to turn, but then she was able to control it. And now that this, psycho dumb bitch has her in the interview, she's able to kidnap her and bring her to a facility where it's revealed the leader is basically manipulating this dumb bitch to get her to kidnap her and do experiments on her because I guess she's some researcher. But basically, this dumb bitch thinks that she's going to be able to harness the Hulk power, that she's going to take the blood from Jen Walters and inject it in herself and, get her power and become like her. But I think the leader has different plans. I think the leader just wants her and he says this. He just wants her and Jen Walters to fight so that Jen Walters can become strong again, but also have her morality challenged. So it's really cool how they set it up, and I'm not doing it justice. I really am not. I'm really bad at doing things justice. But this is really, I think it was really cool how they set it up, and I think the art is pretty cool as well. I don't know anything about these writers. Tamaki Lindsay.
Yeah, who's wait, sorry, who is
the
it?
last name is Tamaki. Tamaki.
That's the writer or artist?
Writer. Comic writer.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up online to see what Tamaki is. I think it's like Michelle Tamaki. Mariko Tamaki. She is Canadian, though.
Okay. That's the writer. And then who's the artist?
The artist is something Lindsay. So let's see what Lindsay.
Okay. I'm not familiar with either of those people then.
Lindsay.
But that's cool.
Comic illustrator? Is that what they call them? Illustrators?
Depends. They all have different preferences. Comic artist, generally.
Okay.
Or penciler.
In any case,
if they're just penciling.
I would suggest you pick something like this up. I don't know. You don't have to. I can just keep talking about it. But it's cool. And you said you hadn't looked at She-Hulk at all either, right?
Not really. I've absorbed a lot of her character through her appearances in other books, which is very similar to my experience with the Hulk. I have not really ever read a Hulk book. So my whole kind of experience with the Hulk world in general, pretty limited to them showing up in other Marvel stuff. So yeah, I don't really know anything about She-Hulk other than her name and that she's a lawyer. But she seems cool from what I've seen of her. Mm-hmm. I've always been kind of curious to read a book about her. So yeah, I mean, if you're saying this is good, I can maybe track down those issues.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to hear just because I'm venturing out on my own, and I want to hear what if any of the, I don't know. I obviously can have my own opinions, but I want to know if I'm appreciating
must
it.
Have my opinions.
What? Oh, hey now. But I really like the leader as well, because I love that sort of, there's a bad guy, but then this real bad guy is manipulating that guy. I like that sort of dynamic because it makes him seem very smart and very, I don't know. I really like him so far.
I mean, he's been that's also that's the leader's thing. For anyone who doesn't know who the leader is a big Hulk villain. He's green. He's got does he have a mustache?
He does have a mustache.
Okay, he's green. He has a little pencil thin mustache, and then he's got a big old forehead because his thing is that he is super intelligent, and so kind of his thing is that he is a master manipulator and strategist.
So he's basically Hulk brains as opposed to Hulk brawn.
I mean, kind of, yeah. He's kind of in that very kind of basic way the antithesis of the Hulk, in that the Hulk super strong, he is super intelligent.
He is Hulk's Joker.
Sure.
Okay, whatever. In any case, I think we have a little bit of time to go over the new media section. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We have to go over what we're doing next week, which is a big week actually, and awesome.
Yeah, next week's a big week.
So we have Dark Knight's Metal 4, which has not had a new story since October, right?
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I don't recall when the last issue was, but we haven't talked about it in a while, so it's
damn run-ins.
I think, did we not? I feel like we had one in maybe early November.
I think
maybe
early November.
Maybe there wasn't. I can't recall, but it's been a while.
Yeah. But in any case, that should be really, really fun, and we get to know more. We get to know how useless my tie-in reading was. Then we also have Doctor Strange 383, which has just been fantastic. I feel like we've gotten...
Which, by the way...
Is that 2 weeks?
Yeah, I realized that we have talked about 2 issues of that book on this show already.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for just over a month, and this will be a 3rd. So... I didn't make the connection before somehow, but is this a twice monthly book?
It must be, which is amazing, by the way.
I mean, if it's at that quality bar, that's awesome. Like usually twice monthly books aren't quite the at that same kind of creative level, just because they have to go out on a quicker kind of turnaround
schedule. Yeah,
but
yeah, and then Justice League
book's been great. And
also bi-monthly, then, right?
Yeah, that one's been bi-monthly or twice weekly, I should say. It's not necessarily bi-monthly. But okay. Or bi-weekly.
Bi-week?
No, it's not bi-weekly. Bi-monthly would mean every other month. God, it's very confusing.
It's twice a month.
It's twice a month because it's not necessarily every other week if there are 5 weeks. It's not necessarily that, but it is 2 times a month.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, just then this will be the second issue of Christopher Priest's run that we liked, had some issues with, but generally liked kind of the direction they were going with it. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see where they go from there.
You just want more situations of jihadists taking nuns.
Oh boy, and Wonder Woman scolding them for their theology, which I realized in the intervening time, we talked about this on the book, but Simon Baz is a Muslim member of the Justice League, so that has to be addressed.
I literally said that last episode.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I must not have.
Listen to me.
Anyway.
Okay. In any case.
I mean, you pointed it out, but I don't know that we talked about it in relation to the terrorist angle that happened in that book. Anyway.
Also, I just read that apparently Doomsday Clock beat out like all sales for DC, for all comics or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So that's coming out, I think, the week after not this next week, but the next week.
What specifically do you mean? Like
beat out all, it was like
in that.
It
was the highest selling in that month?
It was highest selling that week and the week after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not surprising. It's a huge event. I mean, like, great for that book.
Yeah. But it should.
But that was anticipated to be a very high selling book. Yeah. And then in general, that's just a really big week for me. I've got, depending on some of the stuff I'm on the fence about buying or not, I've got a lot of books to pick up.
Jesus. How many do you think? Like 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm on the fence about one of them. There's a book called X-Men Grand Design that's coming out with the first issue, which is by an indie comics writer, Ed Piskor, who wrote Hip Hop Family Tree, which was a really big thing. I'm not really into hip hop, but I know that was a really big indie book at the time. It very critically acclaimed, and he's doing basically a series that is a sort of overarching retelling of all the major events of the X-Men over their history.
Interesting.
And trying to make it into a coherent single story, which sounds ambitious.
Okay,
but I don't really. I'm on the fence about whether or not I'm going to get that or not, just because I have so many books, and I don't know if I can add a new. I mean, I'm not on the high end of people there's people who get lots of books. I don't have the funds to do that, but I keep it pretty contained in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff coming out next week.
But we have a minor, like, the last little bit is did you watch it last night, the second episode of Happy, or did I?
I actually watched it this morning. But yeah. Well, the second episode of Sci-Fi's adaptation of Grant Morrison and Derek Robertson's graphic novel.
Grant Morrison, who was on Late Night Seth Meyers on Wednesday.
Did you watch that? I never got around to watching that. I really was curious.
I watched a video of him. He was just talking about Happy and his new thing, I guess, is Klaus, which is Santa kicking ass.
Yeah, he has. That's a series that was an ongoing series a few years ago or in the last few years, and he just came out with like a one-shot, oversized special. Kind of continuation, sequel/continuation to it.
It talks a little bit about that, and then it really wasn't that much. There was a 5-minute clip that I watched, and that was it. And then they said, "Oh," and they go off. So I think he was kind of limited, but I don't know. I would check it out. See him. I also saw a random video of him speaking about how he was on drugs and stuff, like from 10 years ago, which is weird. But in any case,
just on the internet. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. But Happy. I want to hear what you thought of it, Doug, because I just kind of got the same sort of middling feelings.
Yeah. Well, I would probably agree it was better than the first episode.
It was marginally better.
It was better. I feel like I have a better idea of kind of the rhythm and pace at which this series is going to advance.
Yes.
It did start to feel a little bit like it is getting pretty padded in term, because that series is a series that gets in, gets out. It's 4 issues. Like you can read it all in a few hours.
Yeah.
Or a couple hours, or however long quick you read. But this is going to be. Again, I could be wrong.
I hope it's not 7. I hope it's not 7 episodes.
I swear, does IMDb still list it as 7 episodes? Because, anyway, yeah, like, I liked it enough that I think I am going to keep watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on whether or not you keep watching it, we can or cannot talk about it on the show again. But I think it was good. It felt less heavy-handed.
Yes,
this episode
it did.
In terms of the relationship with his daughter and his ex-wife. It all felt a little bit more natural and a little bit less stilted, which I was one of my problems with the first episode, was that it was very kind of fakey feeling in a lot of places. But,
yeah. Well, you got more on-screen time with the mom and her like interacting with the partner, which it was probably good for it. It's just, I just keep watching it. It's like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
I liked Happy more in this episode.
Yeah, he was a lot better in this episode, I thought. He spoke a lot more about how he doesn't like this world and how, it could just be better if everybody just, I think he had a lot more good dialogue in this, definitely.
Yeah, he felt much more like what the character was intended to be, which is this very direct commentary on the world of the comic and then now the show. Mm-hmm. In that, like the contrast between this happy cartoon, silly character and this gross, disgusting, horrible world full of criminals. I didn't like the moment where Happy, the tiny flying blue unicorn horse voiced by Patton Oswalt, did do the cocaine. Yeah, that was a little dumb. Seemed odd.
And it was so constructed, like he just goes on the table. Like, how does he interact also with stuff like that in the world? He can't touch things, can he?
That's one of the weird changes they made from the comic, because in the comic they made a very big point of he's immaterial. He just flies through stuff.
You can see it,
Yeah, like he would, like in the first scene in which he's introduced in the comic, he sticks his head. He asks him, like, there's some bad guys coming down the hall for him, and he says, "Look out there and tell me how many." And he sticks his head through the wall and says there are 4 of them or whatever. And in this, they specifically had that scene in the first episode, and he I think like opens the door or something. Like somehow he actually physically is blocked by things. So he is a physical thing in this, just nobody can see him. And that actually is a plot point in this, because he loses him by trapping him in a washing machine in this episode.
He comes back anyway.
He gets out somehow, but he is very clearly like stopped by physical objects like that. He has a physical presence, which is an interesting. It's not a huge difference, but it is interesting that that's a decision someone made at some point. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah. But the Coke thing could have done without that.
Coke thing was weird. I don't know what that was for, just because it's funny. That's one of those moments that really makes me question the people making this relationship to the comic. Because again, like we talked about this, that comic is very much a critique of overly dark, overly violent, overly shock jockey kind of storytelling. Mm-hmm. It's making fun of that stuff. And a lot of times in this series,
it just is that stuff.
It just feels like it is that stuff. Like it's just being shocking to be shocking because isn't that funny? The horse did cocaine. Like, I don't know what that was for. But then they did have a moment later where where Happy is talking about how much kind of the world has corrupted him. Like, and listing off that he ended up doing drugs. And like, I was like, okay, maybe I can see how that makes sense. Like that, like this world in a similar way to how Happy is in the long run of this series going to kind of bring Nick around. And the beginning here, the world is actually kind of conversely corrupting Happy in a little bit, which makes, I guess, sense for a longer version of this story.
Now,
I don't know.
I don't know if you thought this was as, I don't know if I should say nuanced, but enlightened, as I thought it was. There was a scene that I thought was pretty well done. And during this whole...
Is it the grape scene?
The grape scene was pretty great.
I am the damn grape.
I'm the grape. Yeah.
I'm the goddamn
great conversation. Very Tarantino-esque conversation.
Yeah.
In any case, now I'm talking about...
What's the scene?
So during this whole scene, he's shown, Nick Sachs is shown in a Jerry Springer show in his own mind sort of thing. Are you the father?
Oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like that stuff.
I'm talking about the very end where he sees all this gross people and all these people conflicting with each other. And he just decides to stand up and walk out.
I liked that moment.
That's all I'm talking about. That moment I thought was very enlightened for everything else I've seen.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. And then I am a little perplexed by, is Jerry Springer a cultural touchstone that anyone understands anymore? Like, okay. Is that show still happening?
I think it is it's on daytime, so I don't know.
It feels super dated.
It does feel dated. Yeah.
Like that's not a reference anyone makes anymore. Is anyone talking about Jerry Springer
ever
anymore?
Since Austin Powers? He probably isn't very relevant.
Oh God, did they have a Jerry Springer scene in Austin?
Yeah,
of course
you
they
remember
did.
With what's his name? Scott Evil is on there, and he's like, my dad doesn't like it. And they have like the evil. Or wait, is that Dr. Phil? Or I think that's Jerry Springer. I think it was Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer seems like the thing they would have done.
In any case, but I liked that moment. I thought it was a really cool moment of him walking out of this world that's disgusting and terrible. And that was one of the moments that made me think like, okay, maybe they do. No, maybe they get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still all in the execution in the real show. But I thought that was in the midst of a bunch of middling stuff, that was something that was like, okay, I like that.
And I do think they on some level, they do understand what the book is, but it also seems like that interpretation of it is also kind of coexisting with them trying to shock you on an actual genuine basis. Because that's the kind of stuff I guess they enjoy. So it's a little bit hard to parse at times when they're being a satire of that kind of storytelling and when they're genuinely doing that sort of storytelling. Yeah. Which is a little bit tiring, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm definitely going to watch the next episode.
I want to. Definitely.
Yeah. So we'll at least talk about that, and we'll see from there.
But I think that's gonna do it though for this week. Tell us if you liked the new little order we did it in. It was pretty cool. It was different. We're putting it up. Oh, I had a quiz. Sorry, really quick. Doug, do you know which professional wrestler wrote the Thor annual for 2015?
That was CM Punk, wasn't it?
Good job. Okay, in any case, that was my question for you since I got the one right. I think when I get things right and I know things that you give me, I should give you a question.
If you want to give me a quiz or something on the opening of one of these shows, feel free. I considered doing a quiz on this episode that was supervillain or professional wrestler, but then I realized, no, you're going to know all of the professional wrestlers. So.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find one that's that's good. Okay, we'll workshop it though. But in any case, that's going to do it for this week. As I said in the beginning, we know there are some people out there, hopefully, that are still here. I don't know. But thank you. And we're a new podcast, so absolute biggest thing you can do is give us a review or star rating on the iTunes. And if you enjoyed what you heard, let someone know about us in person or on social media. We would love to hear if you don't like something too in a direct message. Tell us specifically why we don't do a good job.
Tell us why we suck.
Tell us why we suck. We're going to release episodes weekly on Sundays, so be sure to check back in next week. Or better yet, just have the ever long drip feed of podcast content and just subscribe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can do that on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Overcast, Google Play Music, whatever app that you prefer to listen to your podcasts on. We're probably on that. In the meantime, before the next episode, you can find us on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. Our handle is @comicscovered. You can find web archives of all our episodes, all the 4 previous ones and this new one. At comicscovered.libsyn.com or on our YouTube channel. And all of those will go up on Sundays concurrently with our release on those apps. If you want to get a hold of us with a question or feedback, like Jack said, send us a message on social media, and maybe we'll answer you on a future episode. Although maybe we should stop calling that out if all of you continue to stay silent.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Okay. Once again, thanks for listening. I'm Doug.
I am but one Jack.
You're a single Jack?
I am a single Jack. There are other Jacks in the world. There are 3 in my class in 1st grade.
Oh, wow. And that you don't represent all of them. Because I do represent all Dougs. We are Doug. We are all Doug. All of us, Dougs.
Wow. There's a song in there. We are Doug.
We are the Doug.
Okay. That's good. Okay, we'll workshop that. In any case, this has been Comics Covered.
Thanks.
Cheerio.